6-inch mini bike tire comparison. We got two different knobby tires and then the stock V-treads. Which one's the best? Let's talk about it today. Here's my mini bike. It is a Rascal Lite kit from Go Power Sports with a 196cc diesel from the mainland. These are the common diesels you see on mini bikes, and I'm adding a kill switch to be able to shut it off mechanically. So get subscribed if you want to see that. However, today we are talking about tires. We've got the Nanco N688s. We've got the Cheng tire, CST 829, and then we've got the stock Coleman CT100U tires, which just have the word Wanda on them. Not so sure about what their deal is, but they're mostly called V-tread on the internet because they have this sort of V pattern in the tread. Now these are just classic knobbies, which have a primarily square block. All of these tires are going to get you down the road, but I was not liking the grip that I was getting out of these. They are 4-ply versus 2-ply on these, so they're a little bit more robust possibly, but I'm thinking for my application, off-road riding, primarily grass and mud, I'm thinking that these are going to work out a lot better. So I got my front tire and rear tire here, and I'm going to put a sheet up here. I'm going to put a table right up here on the screen that's going to compare all of the specifications on these tires. So I'm going to give you a sec to read through that. If you'd like, just pause the video. Now I'm going to go ahead and give you my personal opinions. I have not ridden on any of these yet, so I might do a long-term update, but just from the feel of them, these are a little bit smaller, as you saw in the spec sheet, than the factory size. And then these are a little bit bigger, although pretty similar. I guess I shouldn't say factory. You can put whatever tires on you want, but these are just a hair smaller. Let me compare them right here. You might be able to see, might not be able to. They look really nice though. They have a nice square tread, good amount of knob on there. Not huge, but you also don't want to be rolling down the road vibrating like crazy on one of these little mini bikes with no suspension. I've got these all at 10 PSI, but I'll probably drop them to 5 to actually run them. These were a little bit harder to mount. I actually needed the air compressor to get these to bead. I was able to use just a mini compressor to get this one to bead. And this one, you can feel it's a stronger tire. This one here, move this out of the way. The knobs are a little bit taller. You might be able to tell, just a little bit taller, and they have a little bit of a U shape to them. But this tire is a lot softer. It's going to be hard to show here on camera, but when you sit them next to each other, it's funny. This one looks twice as big, but once you inflate them, they both round out. But this one, pretty firm carcass. This one here is much spongier, much squishier. This one honestly feels a lot like the Wanda, even though it's a 2-ply and that's a 4-ply. They both feel pretty similar in firmness, whereas this one feels more like, I guess, what you'd expect half as many plies would feel like. Much softer, much squishier. It also has sort of an odd color discoloration, just probably old rubber from the factory. These are a little bit older production date than these were. So I guess I got some old ones, whereas these are fresh ones. But regardless, they're going to go down the road just fine. So that's pretty much it. You can see here, you might be able to tell that this one shipped a little bit flatter, whereas this one ships a little bit wider. And then it looks like, which is deceiving, that it's going to be twice as tall, or twice as wide, which is not true. And then, of course, you got the venerable V-treads, which they're very firm and nice stiff sidewalls. These honestly would not be bad for a street-only use, except for that the handling of the lean-in is not very good. Other than that, though, they do have a good strength to them. But hopefully this video helps somebody out when deciding between the Nancos and the CSTs, if that ends up being what you're deciding between. I think these look a little bit nicer as far as like a more vintage bike where you want that tire tucked into the rim a little bit more. Whereas I think these would look a little bit better as far as being more like a fat balloon tire on more of an off-road rig, since it sticks out a little bit more. You get a little bit more meat there. And they also do have a little bit more tread to start with. The knobs are just a little bit taller, if you can see there. It's not much though, it's very similar. So I will comment as well if I do a long-term review, and I'll also comment if one of these wears out real prematurely or whatever. It's not going to be a fair comparison though, because the front isn't going to get hardly the wear that the rear is going to get. But it's not too hard to change yourself. I was able to do it just with a couple of spoons. Remove the little stem valve, soapy water to lube the bead, and then, as I said, either an electric compressor, or it would be better to have an actual pump compressor for seating these more bent out of shape and stronger beads. Like this one here was a little bit more work to bead. This one, I think just because it's so much wider, it almost already pushes up onto the bead of the rim better, and that one just came right up. I didn't try beading these since I was removing them. Hopefully that helps somebody out there. Hopefully I didn't ramble too long. I didn't see any videos on any of these tires online, so this is a good comparison. So you don't have to buy both of them. You can just make a choice. And get subscribed, as I said, if you want to see more videos on a diesel mini bike, because that's what we're working on. See you next time. Bye.